And love y'all. Imara here, coming to you from the beautiful island of St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. And I am excited to be here. Find your free, y'all. Um, I'm gonna wait a few minutes, see if anyone comes on. I know it takes a while to get some energy moving on here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about. And I'm just cruising around my neighborhood right now. It's really cute, quaint little neighborhood. I wanted to talk a little bit about how to choose the right location for you. I'm gonna go this way because they be having all these big dogs. One thing about living in the Caribbean, everybody got dogs, and some of them have big dogs, and they call them, watch dogs or whatever. But a lot of times they be getting out the gate and getting out the fence and doing too much. So when I hear dogs, I go the other direction. Plus, I don't have a stick on me. But yeah, so I don't do a lot of walking around my neighborhood, obviously. You can see over there. Hey, yeah. See you. Yes, 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 yes. But I'm going to wait a few minutes. I hope everyone is doing amazing. It is Sunday. It is breezy and beautiful. My family and I were down at the water today doing a little bit of ritual and prayer there for Olokun and Yemoja, for Orisha, and just giving thanks for a beautiful day in life, or whatever, whatever, right? Let's see if anyone comes on. It's Sunday morning, so I know it's a little bit of an awkward time to try to make a video or expect to see anyone. You can hear the little yappy dogs in the background. So these are some little small dogs, pretty little small dogs that a lot of people, they like to leave their dogs off chain here too if they're smaller, like if, as long as they're not like pits or super attack dogs, which is cool. But the yappy dogs are annoying, so they chase you up and down the road, and you can't barely do nothing because they're always trying to come around pretending like they're going to do something. So they can be irksome, but we have a lot of them in this neighborhood, so we have to be patient with the dogs, right? Living out here has made me realize how me and my family are just cat people. Like everywhere we go, cats just naturally gravitate towards me and my children. We have one here that my friend owns because we live in the apartment below her family, and they have a cat and a dog, but the cat super migrates towards my family, like likes us a lot, and then wants to always be with us. And then when we were in Costa Rica a year ago, we had all these cats and dogs actually trying to come and just be on our porch all the time, wanting us to adopt them, even though they were already owned by people. So we have like a thing with cats and dogs, but especially cats. But animals, they kind of tend to attract to children in general, right? So I still very much have children. Even my 18-year-old is very childlike still. So yeah, animals, they can feel that rarity and that vibration on children who have been kept pretty not isolated, but aren't in the mix of trying to be doing everything and trying to be super commercial and whatever, whatever. They can feel that energy, animals. But yeah, woohoo, peace, whoever came on. Yes, so we are gonna chat a little bit today about um, how to choose a place, how to choose a location for you and your family. I know there's just so many people out here who are looking to migrate and travel and to try something different with their children, even single moms like the way I started out and have always done it, right? So one of the things that I think you have to do a lot is a lot of kind of background soul searching to figure out exactly what it is you want to experience when you go abroad. Like, what is it in regards to your children? What is it in regards to you? But what is the experience you want to have? So I'll give you an example because all I can do is kind of focus on my background and what I do. But for me, I've always just been really into the arts and culture and multiculturalism and language and stuff like that. And so for me, obviously that spilled over to my children. So they have that too. Maybe not like on the level that I do, but they have that too. So they love the arts, they love culture, they love They're social. They want to connect with people. So I'm always going to be looking to go somewhere where I feel like I can facilitate that. Whether it's because, it's a country that is an English speaking country, which we rarely go to be honest, or if it's a country that I know has the kind of cultural things that we're attracted to, the music, the dance, it has, the kind of experience we want to have, the street culture of, you know, dancing and being in the street. We're very like, we like vibes, like my family. We don't do good with just going and sitting up somewhere. We like vibes. My children are kind of homebodies, but they like to go out and experience, richness. And so I'm always looking for that for me. These are the things that you want to think about on a bigger scale, like in a bigger picture way, so that you know that you and your children will be pleased with the decision you make when you do get out there. What kind of vibe, what kind of energy, what kind of space and place do I want to take me and my kids to, basically. So that's a really important one. Obviously, number one usually with everything is, the cost of living in a place. So you're always going to be looking at and trying to choose somewhere that kind of matches your income and matches, what you're able to expend on a monthly basis. Obviously, you should have passive income too, but you're not necessarily using that to fund your life on a day to day. That might be more for investments and stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, you want to be making sure that you choose somewhere that is matching what you're able to afford. And so, one of the beautiful things about not where I'm at now, but a lot of the places that we go, is that they are places that are drastically less expensive than the United States. And so we came from the U.S. We haven't lived in the U.S. in over 5 years, and we even before that were barely there. But um, living in different countries in Central America, South America, even not really the Caribbean. I wouldn't suggest the Caribbean if you wanted to go somewhere and really be able to, live like a high quality of life for a low cost. That I came to the Caribbean before it really started going. Like I came to specifically St. Croix before it got to be just ridiculous in terms of the lifestyle. And so I came here and I made friends and I made community connections, and that is what has allowed us to continue to come back and forth here, because it is very much not a place you would want to come if you were looking to be able to save money, to live cheaply, to prepare yourself for being able to buy property maybe eventually and all that. It's not the place for that. But we got very blessed because we were here 8, 9 years ago, making those connections. So anytime we want to come here, we basically have somewhere to stay, to get started. We have, people who look out for us. We have love and community and friendships and people who treat us like, almost family. So it's a real blessing in that. It's amazing to establish that. But if you care, if you don't have that, you want to pick somewhere that is going to give you the bang for the buck. So a lot of people are doing Mexico these days. My daughter and I have spent about 6 to 8. I think it was a more like closer to like 8 months in Mexico at one time, and it was phenomenal. But it was way back, more like around 2008, 2009, when it wasn't as commercial in the Tulum area, and it was just more hippies and people who were living cheap and enjoying life, right? So things have changed a lot, but it's still very affordable. And Mexico in general tends to be affordable for the average person coming from the U.S. So yeah, you can choose based on that. A lot of Central America is great. Costa Rica is kind of pricey. I definitely found it to be a little bit more pricey. Doesn't mean it's anything comparable to where I am now or even to the U.S. Maybe there might be parts of the U.S. that Costa Rica is comparable to, maybe like in the deep south, but even the deep south isn't that cheap or affordable anymore. So I don't know. Costa Rica is just a little bit of a higher end place. We did spend 6 months there and came back from there a year ago, and it was not cheap. It's a decent quality of life. It's not the best to me, but it was nice. It's a nice country. Yeah, so no complaints about Costa Rica to speak of. Quite nice people, down to earth, nice place. But yeah, you'll want to be looking at financially what you can do. Some people they prefer looking in the excuse me. Some people prefer looking in the direction of Africa. There's lots of countries in Africa that you can live in very affordably. I think one of the best ones that I have done research on and am leaning towards for the future would be Kenya. You know, very affordable, high quality of living, even in the urban areas, and just something that you can feel good about if you make that decision, right? So I know Nairobi's really good. They got the other place, Mombasa, that they say is quite nice too. Very much drawn to East Africa for Africa. I have lived in Senegal and Ghana. Senegal with my daughter, Ghana by myself. Wouldn't suggest either one, even though a lot of people like Ghana. Ghana's lovely. I loved it too at the time, but I hear it can be very kind of complex financially. I don't think it's a place to go towards right now if finances are a concern of any type. But Kenya, East Africa, we have a lot of peoples in Zimbabwe, so we always have like kind of open energy where we could go to Zimbabwe whenever we wanted, like family, like real family. And then yeah, so Africa is pretty open. It's nice. And then some people look in the direction of Asia. So everyone has their own flavor and their energy and their vibe and the thing that they're moving towards and they are going, they connect with. For Asia, I know I'm very drawn to Bali. I haven't done Asia yet, but I know I'm mostly drawn to Bali, maybe Thailand, but mostly Bali. Um, and I know a lot of people are having a fantastic life out that way. And I do have a lot of friends that have spent time on that side of the world, and it seems amazing. So, yeah, those are options, and those are options that are affordable. So if finances are a concern, which for most of us, we do have to be aware of our financial plight and what we're spending and our income and what our passive income is looking like, and making sure we have streams of income in on the online space and on the internet. Yep, so those are some regions of the world to be looking towards. But also, you have to consider things like language. Obviously, so number three, language. You have to be thinking about language and the impact of language. So obviously, if you're an English speaker and you're going to a country where they speak Spanish, English, people in America, we've at least been exposed to a little bit of Spanish. Spanish isn't just, it's not such a leap for us mentally. It's probably the easiest thing for us to pick up. Um, you might want to go towards a Spanish speaking country if you know it's a country that doesn't cater to tourists or doesn't cater to English speakers and is going to be a challenge in terms of communication. Because if you don't have the language down, you need to have established some connections with locals that are bilingual that you can trust, that you can communicate with, and that can advocate for you. It's like one or the other. You're going to have to get the language down decent enough, or you're going to have to find advocacy in locals. And remember, in a lot of these countries, it's harder to find that because you can't really trust people too much. A little bit here and there, but mostly it's hard to find people you can trust, especially when they think you're rich or they think you're coming from America and have more than they do. Places where you don't have to worry about that as much are places where they're not as like poor or their currency isn't as devalued, like Costa Rica. Down there, folks are more normal because it's not like they're envying you because you're from America or like dying to get you to help them get to America or anything like that because it's just not their currency isn't devalued like that. So in those kind of places, you're more likely to find more trustworthy people, right? That can advocate for you if you don't have the language down. Whereas if you go somewhere, well, you can't really use Bali as an example because they're so touristic that there's just so many people who are bilingual there and can support you and help you. And, it's a religious culture, so they have like a little bit of some moral standards. So you might not have as much problem finding advocacy folks to help you out there. But yeah, if you go somewhere where, like for instance, Brazil, even, I mean, even though a lot of us have been exposed to Spanish, Portuguese is like a different beast, and it is something that you can learn if you have a base in Spanish, but it's more difficult. And so down there, you'll feel like really exposed and like a fish out of water trying to move around there with no language skills at all or no one trustworthy around to help you. So that's something to think about if you try to move somewhere like Brazil, which, as you guys know, that's where I like to spend my time, and that's where me and my children were during the pandemic, a good portion of the pandemic. Um, you want to make sure that you either have people you can trust or you need to make sure you get into some classes. Jump on Preply. I'll put my Preply link down below, but jump on Preply and go ahead and find you a teacher and start training on the language because you're going to need it. And so these are some things that you definitely have to consider when you are trying to move abroad. Number one, the vibe, the energy, the bigger picture of the experience you want to have. Number two, your financial situation and what you're able to afford. And number three, language and what your capacity is and you know how much time you have. Do I have time to study the language before I get out there, or am I just going to jump out there and need to establish connections with people I can trust? Things like that. These are the questions you have to be asking yourself as you're planning to move abroad, because you know going and staying is different from doing a visit. Obviously there's tour packages you can get and things you can do to totally assist you when you're just visiting a place for a few days or whatever. But it's totally different when you want to move and you want to move with kids. And then you have to, obviously moving with kids, be thinking about a whole long laundry list of other things, right? Like how to get them acclimated to the culture. How are they going to pick up the language? You know, different aspects legality wise in terms of them being able to enter the country, them being able to stay with you in the country. Are you going to get a residency? Are you going to you know, how are you going to get it so that they don't feel like just outsiders ongoing and just frustrated with their lives because they don't connect with people? You know, these are some of the things you have to think about when you have kids. It's a lot. Trying to travel with children is a lot. So I'm so grateful. I've done it a lot. And just feel like I could offer a lot of background on how to maneuver certain things in regards to that. This video is just 3 points, you know, 3 points. I'm not going to do a video with all the points in it, but it's 3 points of reference or things that you can think about when you are planning to move abroad with children. So check it out, go through it, write everything down, put all your ideas to paper, you know, put them into a voice recorder, anything you can do to just try to clear your head and get your ideas out about how you want to experience a new life abroad and what that would look like for you. And that is really my suggestion because it takes a lot of planning and it takes a lot of putting yourself in the position of and being very empathetic with your children, and particularly if you have a family. You don't want to just be planning, focus on what you're trying to do and what you want to experience. And I want to travel. I've always wanted to solo travel and all these things, because traveling with family is not solo travel. Traveling with family is, you know, making sure everyone has what they need to the best of your ability. And yes, you will falter at times, but it doesn't mean that they won't be able to have a good experience abroad. Everything's not going to be perfect. You can count on that. But, you know, considering all parties is really key. So I will do a part two to this ASAP. I just wanted to give y'all a little tidbit there. If you are interested in doing any consulting at all with me, like I said, I've been traveling, moving around with my kids, living in different countries for the last, say, 17, 18 years. So I can help out. I can definitely support on a lot of things. Give me, sorry, I'm getting ready to move on. So yep, hit me up. I'm going to put my stand store down below, and I am going to put my Preply link down below if you want to study some language courses. Okay, ciao.